Hello everyone. So this is my second video in the English series for share trading. So I made a small brief introduction video about share trading for people who have never done share trading in their life. I explained what share trading is and how simple it is in a country like UK. And someone had asked me about recommendation for the apps or for providers in India. And that's when a few people suggested to me about Zerodha and some other stockbroker accounts in India. So I had never done share trading in India, and I had even said that in the previous video. So I tried to understand the differences between UK and India share trading from a share trading perspective, from an app perspective, from the tax broker and the screens perspective, how you do share trading. What I realized is that the share trading process in India is way too complex than UK or US or European markets, or how we do it. I mean, to give you a simple perspective, in UK, all I need to do is, it takes a couple of minutes to install and get going with the share trading app, and basically your account is created in 2 minutes, and you don't need to do anything further. And buying a share is basically click of a button. There are no complex terminologies, no complex jargons. All you need to do is research on which share you want to buy and at what point you're going to sell it. That's all you need to research. Whether or not that share will make you money is all you need to research. There's nothing else that you need to worry about, and which is what I did, and which is what I even explained in one of the Tamil videos about how I chose my shares and how I made money out of those shares. So I haven't made that in English. I'll make a follow-up video to this. I'll explain which shares I have invested in, how I have made money, and how simple that process is of choosing the shares. I'll explain it in another video. But in this video, the only reason I'm doing this is I'm not trying to bash the Indian share trading process. All I'm trying to do is give confidence to those people who have come out of India, living in UK, Europe, US, especially homemakers, housewives, who have no technical knowledge, who has no financial knowledge. And the share trading process in India might have scared them away into trying it out. But if you see this video, you'll understand how easy and how different the share trading process is in UK or Europe or US compared to India, and how there are no complex terminologies, and why you will also be able to easily do share trading in UK or Europe or outside India. So for that, I kind of invested some time, try to understand the Indian terminologies, the Indian process a little bit. And I've tried to make a video just to show you, what the Indian terminologies are, the process, and kind of a comparison to how the outside India process looks like. Let's go into the video. So I'm using Zerodha as a sample in this video. So a lot of people have suggested to me that Zerodha is a new stock brokerage account, relatively new, which is quite good in India. So I'm using that to show what is the account opening process in India. A little bit might have changed because I'm kind of using some of the documentation from Zerodha. So you basically download the Kite app, which is a mobile app, or you can go to the Zerodha online portal and you start the sign up process. So you give your mobile number, email address, and you click on sign up. You will get an OTP in your mobile number, and you get an OTP in your email address. And you click on continue on both of them, use the OTP. Then you need to provide the PAN number, and you need to continue, give your date of birth. There is a payment page where you need to pay using your net banking for either for equity or commodity or for both. And then you need to connect your DigiLocker account, or you need to basically create a DigiLocker account, for which again you need to give a mobile number. You will get another OTP, this time for the DigiLocker account. So once you create the DigiLocker account with a mobile number and password, you enter the Aadhaar card in your DigiLocker account, or you enter the Aadhaar number at the point of time in the application process. So again, you'll get a mobile number, you'll get an OTP in your mobile number, which is linked to the Aadhaar card. If you don't have a Aadhaar card linked to your mobile number, then you need to get it done, because without which you will not get the OTP at this process. So you need to go to the shop and get this Aadhaar card linked at this point. Then you need to give access to the DigiLocker to Zerodha to access your Aadhaar card. So then there is a eKYC process, which is Know Your Customer, where you share your copy of your Aadhaar card to the Zerodha account. Further, you will give your bank account details, your IFSC code, and your account number and everything. Then you do a tax residency declaration that you are in India. If you are an NRI, then there is again a different process. You need to get a IPS, and there is a separate form that you need to fill up. I'm not covering it in this video. So then you need to do a webcam IP verification, where you'll get an OTP and you need to write it in a piece of paper, hold it in front of the webcam or in front of the mobile camera and post, so that both your face and the OTP is visible. Then you need to do an online Aadhaar e-sign with Aadhaar. You need 6 months of your bank statement PDF uploaded at this point. Then you need to sign on a white paper and take a photo of it and upload the photo into the Zerodha account. Then you have a PAN card that you need to upload, PAN card copy that you need to upload. Then you e-sign for equity and e-sign for commodity, and for e-signature you will get an email and mobile verification both, and you need to use the passcode for both. So once you've done everything and submitted, my understanding is it takes about 2 to 3 days for Zerodha to process and get you going for starting your trading process. So this is in a nutshell about 20 to 25 steps that you need to process. Compare that with a UK share trading account process. I'm using 212 as an example, but in pretty much every share trading application, the process is very much similar. So you download the app and you sign up using your email address, you enter your house address, then you enter your NI number. NI number is something called as a national insurance number, which is given for everyone who come into this country, every adult who come into this country, and this is what you'll use for your tax declaration. But you enter your NI number and then you confirm that you are inside UK for tax residency purposes. Then you click on create account. Your account is ready to is open and is ready to transact in less than 2 minutes. The whole process is completed. You're not uploading any documents, or you're not uploading any proof of anything else at this point. Everything is linked to your NI number. Next is the terminologies that you need to know if you're going to do trading in India, for example. Like if you're going to buy a share and then sell a share, you need to understand most of these terminologies even to execute a simple share trading, a simple buy and a sell. And if you're going to do this in UK or Europe, you don't need to understand any of this, even though some of this might be there, like for example stop loss and limit order. Even if it's there, you don't need to know about margin intraday, square off, CNC, cash and carry, bracket order, cover order, AMO order, leverage, minimum margin, option trading. You don't need to understand candle reading or graph reading. You don't need to know about 3:20 PM auto closing, T+2 settlements, BTST or STBT, of any of this stuff. But if you're going to do a simple share trading process in India, you practically need to know at least 80 to 90% of what this means and how it will impact your simple share trading process. But if I'm buying a share in UK and if I'm selling it, someone could be doing, in fact I was doing it without knowing any of these jargons for that matter when I had started doing my share trading process. So which is why I'm going to probably try and explain some of these jargons, not all of them in this video, just that it gives you a comparison between why you need to know it in India and why you don't need to know it in UK or Europe or US or anywhere outside of India. So when you go to Zerodha and most of these share trading applications, apps, and you click on buy a share or you try to buy a share, it will ask you for a few options, and one of the two common options or the two basic options are whether it's a CNC or a MIS. So we'll talk about MIS in a bit. CNC is basically cash and carry. This is like buying a share. You're owning the share and you're going to sell it at whatever point you want to sell it. So in UK and US, when you click on buy a share, it's there in your portfolio. That's it. It's like you're going to a vegetable market and you're buying a vegetable. It's there with you. So there's no other complication, nothing else. But in India, when you click on cash and carry and you say I want to buy a share, the settlement process takes 2 days. It's called T+2 settlement, which means the minute that you click on buy a share and you're paying the money, you're not getting the shares. The shares are not in your portfolio. It will take 2 days for the settlement to happen, which means it will take 2 days for the shares to come to you. So technically what it means that you should not be able to sell the share within the 2-day process. But there are certain apps or certain providers like Zerodha, for example, who allow you to sell the shares even before the 2 days is complete. So this is like selling that share or selling something when it is actually in transit. So imagine you're buying a lorry of onions from someone and it's taking 2 days to come to you, 2 days to reach you. And the next day someone is coming and asking you for that onion, and you're basically selling it to them, but you haven't even seen the lorry. You don't even know whether it's got stuck somewhere, it's going to reach you tomorrow or anything like that. On the assumption that you're going to get the share the next day or get the lorry next day, you're selling it to someone else, which is called as BTST, which is buy today and sell tomorrow, which means technically if I'm buying it on a Monday, I'm only going to get the settlement of the shares on Wednesday. But on Tuesday, you could actually sell the share to someone else. So buy today and sell tomorrow. On Tuesday, you're selling it to someone else. On Tuesday, you don't have these shares. And what you now are assuming is that on Wednesday, you will get the shares, which is settlement for your shares, which is T+2. And the shares that you sold on Tuesday, you will then settle it on Thursday. You will give it to the other person. So you are basically committing another sale of the transaction, assuming that your purchase is going to get completed. Now, in a normal scenario, this is fine because this you will eventually get the shares on Wednesday, and you can transfer the shares on Thursday. So buy today, sell tomorrow process is possible. The reverse of it is again sell today and buy tomorrow. Not explain it. But what could happen is like that settlement. The settlement process may not happen. The seller might default on your purchase, which means on Wednesday you won't get the shares. Like for a variety of reasons, the seller was not able to complete the transaction. He didn't have the shares. So the broker who was trying to transfer these shares, they are basically going to say that no, I wasn't able to get these shares. On Wednesday, you don't have these shares. So this is called as defaulting option. In normal scenario, what will happen is when the seller defaults on the T+2 day on Wednesday, by Thursday, there will be a process of auctioning and penalty for the seller, and eventually you will get the shares either on Thursday or T+3 or whatever time frame it takes. But imagine you had done a buy today and sell tomorrow process in this scenario, then on Wednesday you don't have these shares, which means that you can't sell it on Thursday. Now you have also defaulted. So this, if you do a buy today sell tomorrow process, then this defaulting will actually cause a cascade as well. So there are a few complications that you need to consider when you're buying a share and before the 2-day process you are trying to sell it. So this is from a normal buying and selling scenario. I'm talking about the complications where you need to know what is BTST, buy today, sell tomorrow, what is CNC, cash and carry, what's a settlement, what's a defaulting. So all of these terminologies you need to understand. In my introduction video, I had explained what is an intraday trading or what is a day trading with a basic example. Like if you buy it and you can sell it on the same day, and I was just basically trying to give you a very simple example of what day trading is, where in UK or US or European markets, you buy a share, and because you own it immediately in UK and other places, you kind of sell it. You could sell it within few minutes, you could sell it the next second practically, or you can buy it in the morning, you can sell it in the evening before the market closes, and that's like a proper day trade where you're getting profits or losses out of the shares that you bought on the same day. Now, from an India perspective, the intraday trading process assumes a completely different meaning. So, which is what is called as when you try and buy a share in Zerodha or those kind of applications which allow you to do intraday, it will give you an option called MIS intraday. So, MIS is margin intraday square off. Now, what is the margin intraday square off? What it means technically is that you are allowed to buy shares, or you are allowed to put an amount of money, get the shares. You're not actually buying the shares. A broker is actually buying the shares, and your money is being used as a collateral for those shares, and you can trade on the increase or decrease of the share value before the end of the day, which is like for Zerodha, for example, is 3:20 p.m. But you will basically have to close the share or close the deal on the same day. There are a few options for leverage and other stuff, but in practical terms, you buy the share and you are forced to close the transaction at the end of the day, whatever the process is. Let me explain with a simple example. So in this example, I've assumed that you have a 8,000 rupees of investing amount that you have in your hand, and you want to do MIS intra-trading, margin intraday square off trading process. So if the share price is 40 rupees, for example, you can buy about 200 shares. 200 shares worth of 40 rupees is 8,000 shares. So which means that whatever is the price increase or decrease, it will be based on 200 shares, and it will be based on the 8,000 rupees that you have invested. Now with MIS intraday trading, it gives you something called as a leverage. So you can go to there is a Zerodha portal where it tells you for each share what is the leverage that they allow. So it could be 5x, it could be 10x. Sometimes it could be 14x and 20x as well, which means that they'll allow you to buy 5 times more share than you'll be able to buy in a CNC cash and carry normal process. So with 8,000 rupees, if you could buy 200 shares, and if the share price is 40 rupees, with MIS at a 5 times leverage or 5 times the multiplier, you could buy 5 times the number of shares, which is 1,000 shares. So I assume the price would probably be around 8 rupees if you do that. But the share value still remains the same. The share value still remains based on the full price of the share. So if you bought 1,000 shares, then the total share value is 40,000 rupees. But you have only put a collateral of 8,000 rupees and you have a share value of 40,000 rupees to play with. And a profit scenario is if the share value increases by even 1 rupees, in the CNC method, because you bought only 200 shares, your profit is only 200 rupees. But in the MIS intraday trading, even if it increases by 1 rupee, your profit is about 1,000 rupees. If it increases by 1 rupees, you're happy with the 1,000 rupees. You can actually close the trade at that point and you can get the 1,000 rupees back. Obviously, with whatever brokerage charges is there. Intraday is to 20 rupees, for example, in Zerodha. In another providers, it will vary. Now, consider a loss scenario where before 3:20 p.m. or at 3:20 p.m., even if the share value drops by 1 rupee. In a normal CNC process, you could the total loss would be 200 rupees, and you're not forced to sell the share. You could keep it and you can wait till it goes to 41 or 42 next day. But in an MIS intraday process, you are forced to close the trade at that point of time, or you need to put in more money as collateral or more money as leverage, which means that you will end up with a 1,000 rupees loss in the same day. Now this is for a 1 rupee. Now assume if the share value drops by 5 rupees, right? So in a normal CNC process, which means that it would have been like a 1,000 rupee loss because you bought only 200 shares. But here, because you have 40,000 rupees worth of shares and 1,000 shares, 5 rupee drop in a share, literally less than literally around 10% of drop, means that you lost nearly more than 50% of your investment, which is 5,000 rupees. And the other scenario is not possible, but I'll still give you an example. If the share value drops by about 8 rupees, which is around roughly about 15-20%, right? So if it drops by about 20%, you are basically losing your entire investment at that point. So if you had done it through CNC cash and carry, you would have lost only 1,600. Whereas in intraday, by the time it reaches about 8 rupees drop, you've lost your entire investment. It's gone. Now they won't even allow you in trading accounts like Zerodha, they won't even allow you to go till 8,000 rupees. If you've funded your account with only 8,000 rupees and if you've already lost more than 50%, then your trade is automatically closed at that point. Also, if you've forgotten to close the trade by 3:20 p.m., whatever is the scenario at 3:20 p.m., it automatically closes it off and takes the money from you. So MIS intraday trading is like a glorious gamble where you are betting on the share price increase or decrease, and you are forced to close the trade on that day unless and until you do something else to it and hold on to the trade for some reason. So there's a lot of elements that could go wrong on that particular day. There's a lot of elements that could play against you on that particular day, and which is why the MIS intraday trading seems to be way more riskier, and it is only for seasoned professionals. So again, you don't need to know any of these terminologies if you're going to do trading in UK, because when you click the button, the share is yours, and you can keep it for 1 minute, you can keep it for 10 days, you can keep it for 15 days, to see whether it increases in price or not. And if the share value goes down, and if you know that the share is going to pick up, you could wait. And patience is actually a virtue in trading outside of India. Like for example, I had a share which I bought around 50 or 60 pence, and it had dropped in value for nearly 2 months, and I held on to the share. So it went about 40 pence, and today it is about 89-90 pence. So you wait for a couple of months, and then it could go up. So if you are investing a small amount, for example, and you have patience, you can definitely do it much easier outside of India. But whereas in India, there's so many terminologies and so many complexities involved. And again, I'm not trying to bash the Indian process. All I'm trying to do is give confidence to someone who's outside of India and who kind of understood what it means to trade in India and was scared by the process, just to tell them that it's a lot more easier outside of India, and just go for it. Thank you. Bye.